All right, you guys, so we're gonna keep going with I ran out of time on the last video, so make sure you guys watch all of these. It could be 2 videos, it could be 3, but make sure you're watching these so you know how to fill in your boxes, okay? So on here, the next piece of evidence we're gonna dig into is the map of the area that the crime took place in. Okay, so we're gonna go back over here and we're gonna look at this map. Let me make sure I can find it. Okay, so that's the evidence from the police department. And that one, so it must be this one. No? Where's my map? Here's my map. Okay, so if we're going to be looking at this map, you would have to think about the crime and where it took place, which would have been right here at Tully's in the back alley. She went to the car to get some gifts. And then Christian was saying we had to go home to get the gifts, but supposedly Christian took off to get the gifts and left Harmony there by herself. We don't know. He could be guilty too. He could have, banged her in the head and then took off in his car. So you really don't know. But what you got to pay attention is that uh, this is where Grant Park is where Bones McBride generally sleeps. And he is saying that when uh, the crime was taking place, he made no comment. So what that means as a detective is if they're unwilling to talk, that means that you need to be doing the evidence and digging into it yourself as a detective, okay? So if this is where he sleeps and this is where the crime took place, then there's no way, unless he was out and about, he would have had to go over an entire river. There's really no way for him to get to where he's going. Okay, there's nowhere for him to kind of get over this massive river in order to get to here to kill Harmony or take her ring. So the whole idea of how the ring came, he must have found it. Someone who murdered her may have tossed it in the park. We really don't know all this information yet, so what we can do right now is make inferences. There's no way that he would have been able to get over there. Okay, so that's what we're going to put. Um, Bones would have had to go over the river or the bridge of the river. Let's see, 2 times before um, before getting to Harmony. We don't know where the ring is. So how did the ring get into Bones' possession? By the way, Mary, you're going to have Miss Canelo and you guys are going to fill this in together. For right now, I will be blowing this up for you in your folder, but you and Miss Canelo are going to work on this. Hopefully she can, when you're talking to her or getting your Google Read and Write to work, until that happens, we can have you talk to talk to Miss Canelo and she can write this down. But I will blow this up for you in your folder so you can make it accessible for you. Okay, so McBride sleeps at the park. These are all observations that we have noticed from the evidence we're provided. He sleeps at the park, which is too far away from Tully's. And he had no reason to be there at Tully's. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is if the police is saying, we know for sure we have our guy, the detective is going to go, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, so how did he get the ring? And it still would have taken him forever to get to Tully's. So for in your mind, I want you to be thinking, how could he have done this? Okay, so now we read this one. We read this one in class. We do find out that Harmony was smart. She was third in her class. She went to college and she had a great GPA. She was third in her class. What we also find out that Bones is 24 Oops, did I goof? I think I goofed. Okay, so this one right here, what do we find? Another thing we need to notice is that he is 24 years old. And police have claimed that Harmony was assaulted for money. Her engagement ring is missing. Let me just see if I'm not getting confused here. Okay, so I think what I did was I need to put all of this. I'm going to take all of that and I want you guys to put it right here instead. That might take you a minute to catch up, so we'll let you do that just for a second. I think I goofed on the wrong one. I confused the newspaper clipping with the police file, so please fix yours and make it look like mine. Okay, so there's an engagement ring is missing. Also, we're told from this one that she was hit so hard that her skull caved in. Okay. Bones is found 30 minutes after the murder happened. So they couldn't even find him. And then Bones denies involvement and doesn't know how he got the ring. He does, but he's not really saying. He may have found it, and he is refusing to talk to us. He doesn't know how he got the ring. At least that's what he's saying. Doesn't make it the truth. Our job is to find the truth, okay? So let's go back here, make sure we got everything for the police file. He's homeless. Okay. He sleeps in a park, you guys. We're trying to think of ways to make sure that he is proved innocent. So let's remember what we know about her. She is 28 years old, or was 28 years old. She was healthy. She was pretty. She was, top of her class, very smart. The accident, or so-called accident, happened around 9:30 at her engagement party. And she was supposed to get married, guys. She was supposed to get married to Christian Peterson. We might find out that he's the one who killed her. We don't know all the information yet. Let me make sure I have all of my facts together here. And then we also learn that she died by being hit in the head. This sounds like a lamb to the slaughter. She was hit in the head by a blunt object, died instantly. Her body was discovered by the waitstaff. And let's say, supposedly the last person they talked to before she was murdered had reportedly seen them heading out there to get some gifts out of their car, but they never came back. And we find out that Peterson had either murdered her and left her, or when he left her, she was perfectly fine. He took off to get the presents and comes back and finds her body in the middle of the alley. Okay, so now that we have all these observations from here, we can put some things here. She was healthy. She was pretty. She was accomplished. And then we can say it couldn't have been an accident. These are our inferences. These are our conclusions. It couldn't have been. Her body could have been moved. Peterson may have thought that she would be okay when he left to go get the presents. So all of these things, she was so young, and why did this happen to her? Okay, so these are all important things for you guys to look at. The map. And another thing that you guys need to pay attention to is that when someone reportedly saw a car leaving the crime scene, we're going to get to the witnesses here soon. When there was a witness, they said that the murderer drove away in a car. But if Bones McBride is homeless, he doesn't have a car. Okay, so that's something we're going to pay careful attention to, is that he doesn't even own a car. And you have your police. I just want to make sure you guys are with me and that you filled all of this in. I'm going to leave it just for a minute. I'll leave the screen just like this for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to slide it down so you guys can get the other part. But there's just something about Bones McBride that really doesn't add up. And as a detective, you're going to go, no, I don't think it can be him, because he wasn't even in the general area. He wasn't, how did he get her ring? We don't know. But if he was homeless in the park and he would have had to climb 2 bridges over a river to even get to Tully's, you should be thinking this is not possible and it can't be him. Okay, so it can't be Bones McBride. And we're going to look at the coroner's report. Let's fill the rest of this in. Hopefully you got this. I'm going to leave this for a few more, about maybe like one more minute. You guys make sure you have everything I have. Then we're going to go over and look at the coroner's report. Make sure you guys have everything in your boxes. Should be matching mine. Alright guys, make sure you watch the third video. I'm going to let my dogs calm down.